How's going, everyone? Dusty Bogan here. We've got our Boganwave radio. We've got special guest Aaron Taylor from Canada. Say g'day, Aaron.
G'day, how you doing?
Mate, that filthy hand sign, is it the OK sign or the 666? What do you call it?
Well, I'm a Christian, so I don't support any devil garbage like that. No, it's just okay, but I like that people get upset about it because they think it's something it isn't.
Yeah, that's right. I had to throw in the 666 and not the other one because we all know, what they fucking put on Trump with that,
Man, it's crazy. There's just it's clown world. People are just trying to find something wrong with everything. It's crazy.
It's so fucking funny, eh? We had a huge write up about us in Australia. One of our politicians got a photo taken.
With the Proud Boys?
Yeah, with the Proud Boys. He got a photo taken with us, and one of the boys he did the OK symbol, and they cracked the shits. Like, everyone on Twitter melted down. They wrote an article about it, and we're like, what the fuck?
Oh, the media. What a bunch of kooks.
Oh, mate, it's so funny, eh?
Yeah, man. Well, I'm just happy for alternative media, like what you're doing. You're creating your own media, and I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, dude. That's it. We're international, mate. Australia and Canada. Fucking bang. Good to have you on, bro.
Well, it's great to be here. Really, really great. I love your show. I'm just so happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, bro. So we got some news, like Canada. How do you think it's going up there? I was reading the news this week, and I thought, good opportunity. We'll try to get you on more often, bro, and then we can talk about what's going on in North America and Canada. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Well, we'll stay in touch for sure. One of the things that you had mentioned earlier is the immigration, the workers' immigration setup that they want to do. One of the things I noticed is they say that they're going to cap the amount of employable immigrants at 2,700, yet last year they brought in 28,000. So are they interested in only having 10% of immigrants be part of the workforce? It seems like they're trying to sort of get some positive sentiment going with immigration, but the numbers just don't seem to add up. I'm kind of curious.
So Canada takes the most amount of refugees through the UN and shit? Is that right?
I believe so. Yeah. Justin Trudeau has really created an open door policy for immigration in Canada. A few years back, when there was such a migration away from Syria, Justin Trudeau essentially said everyone's welcome, everybody comes in, and kind of had to eat crow on that one pretty quickly. He realized, we can't take millions of people, but he said initially that he was going to take 10,000. And ends up taking 28,000 last year. So
28,000, and you think that's going to be an ongoing number?
Well, absolutely. Canada, from my experience with friends of mine who have immigrated here, who are employable people coming from not a refugee type of immigration, but more of a wanting to find a different life, primarily friends from Ukraine coming over here. Their immigration was so scrutinized. It was absolutely brutal. It took years and years and years for them to be able to even get a driver's license and to start working, where the Syrian refugees last year under the Liberal government really have been given a free pass, have been given welfare. Some people have even been given the Canadian pension plan, which is something that every taxpayer pays into. And my generation doesn't really know whether we're going to see any money from that, but we're giving that to Syrian refugees. To me, it's a kind of not really well thought out. And I'm all for taking care of people and being a humanitarian. Absolutely, I'm cool with that. But this open door policy, unvetted people, bringing people in with a different ideology that really isn't compatible with the mainstream of Canada's society, there's some problems with that, and I think that our government has just created too much of an open door without really checking who's coming in.
It's crazy, eh? Oh, we got a few super chats here. We got Nick Spence. Get yourself a Big Mac. He shouted me $3. What a legend. Tell you what, I love McDonald's. It's like my only addiction left, Macca's, eh? I drive past the Golden Arches and I swear the drool starts coming out.
Oh, man. I gave up on McDonald's quite a long time ago, but I grew up on it, so I guess I had my fill.
Fuck yeah. It's so addictive. You just drive past and you're like, oh, you start to see the fucking steering wheel starts turning in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
We got another
do it.
super chat here. $2 from Lisa T, Dusty Wave legend, and she did the old okay sign.
Okay, all right.
Don't get us in trouble. We've already been in trouble. We've been in the bloody news last week in Australia. Proud Boys sitting there, you know.
Well, hey, if people actually listen to what we have to say, they'll realize that we're not the boogeyman that they want to paint us as.
Yeah. It's like 4chan's working, but because they didn't 4chan, Trump was talking with his hands. Then they were like, he's doing a signal. It's a white power signal. He's signaling to his people. And then they changed the peace sign to 2 genders. And then what have they done? They've done the hashtag means Hail Hitler.
Oh yeah, you know that is so crazy that they're going to pretty much every extreme to find everything offensive. And like when does this end? It's just crazy, man. It's so crazy.
It's never gonna end. I guess the funny thing is like 4chan's doing that to point out how stupid the PC madness is and how like anyone can be painted in this light. Like you can see a bunch of Japanese, you know, students or tourists and they're all like peace, but no, that's the 2 gender sign and they're all fucking transphobic or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Everyone who's ever put a hashtag, so it's like Twitter and Instagram are just like fucking racist. They're all racist, you know.
Yeah, the hashtag thing, I actually saw that CNN in America had run a story about how that was some sort of secretive Hail Hitler BS, and it was so funny because the trolls making fun of how the liberals are finding everything wrong with everything, they kind of created this hashtag is a Nazi thing. And CNN picked it up as like, oh, this is a new thing. And it's like, no, it was created by people who realize that we're living in clown world, and they really are trolling you by creating that. So I find it funny when people buy into it.
Heck yeah! I want to do like I've got to come up with a name for my Tuesday show, and I was thinking Clown World News, and then just going through all the upside down shit that's happening around the world. You know,
that'd be pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that talking about Clown World is it's kind of never-ending hilarity. It's as clowns are, they're funny, you know. So, well, they're supposed to be funny. So people find them scary, but whatever.
Heck yeah, it's so funny. So, like, we'll go back to the refugee stuff, right? So, do you think that they are taking are they just taking Middle Eastern refugees, or are they like taking Africans and, you know, maybe there's slums in India and people in, you know, trying to flee communism from Vietnam and Cambodia? Like, is it a mix of refugees or is it just Middle Eastern refugees?
Oh no, it's definitely a mix. You know, my time working up in Fort McMurray, which is Canada's biggest oil producing area, most of the people there are immigrants, and a lot of them are from Nigeria and Somalia. Black African people, just awesome people. I love Africans.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool. Like when you go that far north, and it's brutally cold in the wintertime. I was hauling pipeline stuff for the Trans Mountain Pipeline when I was doing long hauling. And so I would bring it up to Fort McMurray, and it was just kind of neat that we're sitting here in bitter cold. Everyone's wearing parkas, and I've got all these Africans around me. And I'm like, man, these guys are really tough. Really tough to come from Africa and come to the tundra.
Fuck yeah. That'd be freezing, bro. I went to -14 in New York. That's like the coldest I've experienced, and
Oh man,
my face was frozen.
that's nothing, brother. When I was up in Fort McMurray, it was -46.
Oh shit! Can you even
Yeah.
take a piss or what?
It'll freeze up when it hits the ground for sure. When you blink, your eyelashes stick together. When you inhale, your nose starts to freeze up. It's crazy, man. I've lived in that stuff too. I've lived in northern British Columbia, a few hours further north of where I'm at, and I've seen it -40 for a winter. So I've lived in that type of weather, and yeah, it's pretty harsh. But
And do
yeah,
they say
you get used to it.
do they say you cannot, stay inside? Are they if you're at work, is it maximum half an hour outside, or what's the fucking go?
Yeah, for that type of climate, absolutely. They put a lot of safety measures in there and stuff like that. But yeah, to get back to the refugee immigration thing, we're definitely taking a wide mix of people. Last year, there was a very heavy flow of Syrian-specific migrants. But now Canada's taken people from a lot of different countries that are having problems.
Yeah.
My issue that I see is that you get employable people in the trades or professions like being doctors or accountants, business owners that want to come over. Yeah, and it even takes a long time for them to be able to get into even being able to be employed. So there's it's kind of like the social justice immigration system where if you're not persecuted or you're being a true refugee, then immigration to Canada is actually very difficult.
Yeah, that's full on, eh? And so, what about the people you think who are highly skilled and they want to fucking migrate just for a job? They got something to offer Canada, or you reckon the refugees are getting a priority over them?
Oh, they're definitely getting a priority. The refugees are definitely getting a huge priority, and it falls under that social justice mentality that the Liberal government has. What I find is that the people who are coming from a background that isn't horrible, they have finances and stuff. It's almost like Canada's immigration system looks at them and says, "Hey, a cash cow. We can make them pay a ton of money to go through all of our bureaucracy and make them wait several years to finally be contributing members of society." Where if you're coming from Syria, it's here's a free plane ticket, here's welfare when you get here, we'll rent you a house when you get here, and we're going to set you up for life. And it just it doesn't add up, because I believe in meritocracy. I know you do too. You should get what you're capable of putting in, and you should get what you have put in. And this number of the Canada talking about, well, we're going to have this work program where we're bringing people in who can fit right into the workforce. Well, why is it that they're capping that number? To me, they shouldn't even be thinking about capping the number at 2,700 people. They should say, well, if we can get people from other countries who can just plug and play right into our workforce, right into our tax-paying economy, let's not cap that number. To me, it seems strange.
Absolutely. And then Canada must have an age bubble. Like in Australia, we have this age bubble, and they're there's a huge amount of population entering into retirement, and then these people will die. They're going to be gone, and then what we have is we're going to have a dip in our skilled workforce. We're going to see a huge dip, and then obviously as they enter into retirement, it's oh crap, all these people are not paying tax now, and they need a pension. So we haven't had enough children, because people are having 1-2 children. Lucky if someone has 3 kids. Some people don't even have kids. So our population is every generation it's getting a little bit smaller, a little bit smaller, a little bit smaller, and then these people retire, they leave the workforce, then they become dependent on the pension, which is all good. They fucking work the whole life. they deserve that.
Yeah.
But the answer has been migration. The answer hasn't been, can we try to encourage families? Can we try to encourage natural population growth? Like the answer has been immigration. Like, oh, we'll just buddy import the skills we need. You know what I mean? We won't have to pay for them to get through school and all this crap.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. Canada is in exactly the same position as Australia is as far as that the age bubble. I'm a truck driver. We expect in Canada that most of the workforce in Canada is almost at retirement age for truck driving. So in the next 10 years, we're going to see about 80%, maybe 70% of truck drivers retire. Well, how is that industry, which is a very crucial industry to support the economy, how are we going to fill that? Now, when I got my what's called a Class 1 license, is truck driving license, everyone was telling me, call me when you get a year experience. Every single employer that was looking for a truck driver said, call me when you get a year experience. And I was really scratching my head of saying, like, how do they expect to replace the workforce if that's the mentality, that no one wants to hire someone into a career that is going to see people mass migration out of the workforce? It seemed pretty odd. So I still see that with younger guys that are getting into trucking. They have a really hard time getting into trucking, and I know some people just straight up lie on their resume after they take their professional driving training. They just write down on the resume they've had work already, and they get hired up immediately.
Yeah.
So,
that's exactly what's happening here, bro, with trucks. Because my uncle just got his like bus license, and they said,
yeah,
sorry, mate, come back when you have experience. And I think what he did was kind of, he's like, how about I do an internship? I'll sit there with the truck with your bus driver. I'll watch what he's doing, and then maybe he can let me drive when there's no passengers or something. And then
good.
I think he kind of like, he can't. And we were talking about, I always recommend for people when they're doing that, like if they're unemployed or they're looking for a new skill, you got to kind of be a bit flexible, kind of undercut your competition. Be like, I'll do it for $5 less. I'll come in, I'll work a month for free or 2 weeks for free and learn what I'm doing. Just fucking undercut them and get in there, because it's long term an investment for your own self. But it is stupid that they fucking have that. Like, you know, it's across so many industries. You can go get all your tickets and licenses to operate machinery or whatever, and then they'll be like, where's your experience? It's like, fuck.
Yeah, so I think that nations like Australia and Canada are facing a dilemma, and the workforce, or sorry, not the workforce, but the employers are not addressing what their needs will be in the future. So in a way, they're almost shooting themselves in the foot as employers, because in a few years, when their employment or when their workforce retires, they're going to be sitting there going like, where are all these people with experience? Well, people with experience are working and they're making good money. Like I make ridiculously good money right now, and I'm not gonna hop ship and go get another job because I love what I do. I want to be a truck driver. I make probably the best money as truck drivers can make right now in Canada, and I'm very happy. But what about all those other employers that are looking to fill positions? It's I don't know.
Do you reckon they'll roll out 5G? This is you know how 5G is going to get rolled out? I was like, they're going to put up all these towers, and then maybe they need the high-speed internet for the self-driving trucks and cars, and to roll out. Maybe they're like, we're on the verge of having better technology and more automation in factories, electric cars and fucking trucks, or, self-driving cars and trucks and drones and shit. But they would need high-powered internet. Do you know what I mean? Like Wi-Fi, high-powered internet. So I reckon they're rolling out the 5G, and then they're like, in 20 years or 10 years, it's going to be fucking automation is going to be everywhere,
I agree. I think that we are destined to end up in some sort of the Jetsons type of future where everything kind of drives itself. I believe that'll happen. Interesting hypothesis about the 5G thing. My prerogative is that 5G seems like it's actually very harmful to people.
Yeah.
So I know Canada is rolling it out. And
I think we're rolling it out too. They're bolting them up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my router in my house is 5G capable. And I remember when they sent me the new router, they're like, oh, we're going to give you a new router. It's an upgrade. I said, is it 5G? They said, well, yeah. I said, well, how do I disable it? They're like, well, you can, but they haven't given me any answers on it. I'd rather not have 5G myself because there are people out there saying it could be harmful. But, I agree with you on saying we need a more powerful internet to sustain the automation and the sort of roboticization of the industries.
Yeah, and that I reckon that's what Japan's doing. Like they have the biggest population bubble there is, and they've decided, the answer's not mass migration. I think they know, like, we'll roll out the 5G, we'll have the self-driving cars and trucks and more automation, more high-powered internet going into industries where there's more efficiency. People are leaving the workforce, but they'll substitute that with technology. And like, you know what? I think mass migration. Maybe they're pushing mass migration right now so hard because they know in 20 years it might be obsolete. It might be like, what's the point? Do you know what I mean? I think maybe Japan just sees the writing on the wall and they're like, there's no need for it, you know?
Yeah, it's really interesting points. I think that we should definitely look into that. And next time we come back and do another show together, I'd be happy to try to come up with some points to talk about on that. That's kind of new to me. I think that's interesting.
What are we gonna do when because we went to the 4X brewery. It's like our local fucking beer brewery, right? We went there a few weeks ago. We did the tour, and he was like, "Yep." He's like, "The only two workers you see in this whole factory are us two, the tour guides, and everything's like the truck rolls in, they dump it all into the vats, and literally, man, it's like kegs roll out, bottles roll out, cans roll out. They're self-wrapped. I think there was like a forklift driver who then loaded onto a truck, and the truck drove away. And like they said, it was they employed 550 employees. They cut it down to, I think it was 135 or 150 employees, and that included the bar, because there's a mad bar there, the restaurant, the security guards, all the office workers. They're like pretty much, there's just a few forklift drivers now and the master brewer, you know?
Yeah. I worked at what was a microbrewery that ended up turning into a major producer of beer, and I saw the growth and the automation, all the production. So I've actually been in that workforce, seeing that type of situation, and there is a huge push to scale back the paid worker. If you can get machines that cost $1 million today, but over the course of 40 years are going to pay themselves off, way better than having a workforce. So I've seen that kind of stuff. Automation, it's going to happen. It's going to happen for sure.
Yeah.
Some industries are being affected by it right now. Think about the auto workers in America and Canada, auto workers in Australia. Automation completely changed the industry. So yeah, it's destined to happen. Some workforces, some jobs are going to be replaced faster than others.
That's it, man. I think luckily I'm a concreter, so I think it's like,
yeah, you're safe.
I mean, there's stuff with my work. There's so much changes. I don't think all the production line stuff will go. They'll be the first to go, and it'll be these shit jobs no one wants to do, and even the robots don't want to do. Will be all that's left. Nah.
Damn lazy robots.
I'll read a few of the comments, eh?
Yeah.
Gone. Someone saying, "Yo, Dusty just popped in during the Revenge of the Cis break." How's it going, legend? Yeah, good, mate. Thanks a heaps. I thought Revenge of the Sis show was finished. Maybe we're yeah, everyone's swinging in during that ad break. Oh, that's awesome. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Give me a shout out in that comments section. Hey, Dusty's going live, and then maybe I can send them a link if they want to jump in on the comment section. G'day, Xcutie. I see her in the comments section. She made some sweet gaming video about me. She was like, I'm the Dusty Bogan. How the fuck do I scroll up here? I'm sorry, guys. Someone says, I love the shirt you're wearing, Dusty. Yeah, you can buy the shirt. Check out in this subscription. Check in the link below. I've got links there to my Teespring site. You can buy a shirt. Someone's already bought this shirt. And I was like, hell yeah. Sick. What else have we got in here? Lacey's in here, my Scottish friend. We need to get Lacey on, dude. Maybe we can, you know what I mean? I was thinking we need to get Lacey's in the UK. You're in Canada, got a mate in New Zealand. We got the whole Commonwealth, mate. We can cover the news around the world.
1,000 points of light. Yeah, man. Bring it together.
We can push back the bloody PC madness globally, bro. Save the Western culture.
I'm down.
Fucking oath, mate. We will. I've got to hold my own mic because I'm trying to scroll here through these comments. Oh, is everyone saying congratulations on getting monetized? Which was Thursday, Thirsty Thursday. I got home and I checked it out and I was like, oh,
yeah, monetized. So cool.
So I got a few super chats. That's fucking sick. You know?
I'm really happy for you on that, man. I found out about that this week, and it's just such a cool thing for you. You've been putting in such work into your channel. You deserve it, man. You deserve it.
Yeah, well, like, because I used to work 2 jobs, bro. I did concreting and then had a bit of mowing on the side. And then once I fucked my finger and I was in hospital, I was like, you know what? I'm not working 2 jobs anymore. Fuck it. Life's too short. And then I've been focusing a bit more on this channel, which is kind of rapidly. And I stopped drinking as much.
Attaboy.
I used to fucking binge drink every day. I'd come home. I'd finish concreting, then go mow lawns and come home and I'd be fucked and just drink moonshine like a mess. You know what I mean? And now I'm fucking feeling.
You're off your Dusty Bogan drink?
Oh, no, I'm not off it. I'm just drinking like. I might have a drink on Thirsty Thursday and then, you know, probably hook in on a Saturday night.
You had your signature moonshine cocktail that you put together. Are you still sipping on that? Just
mate,
moderating it?
For sure. I used to I'm telling you, bro, I'd get home from work and I'd be like doubles, triples, and I'd just fucking neck like three doubles or triple Dusty Bogan drinks in fucking 10 minutes, bro. I'd just be like, bang, bang, bang. And I'd just be like, fuck yeah. As soon as I got off, bro, I'd be like tonguing for it. And now I'm like, whoa, something shifted. And I think it's just because I'm not working so much. So I'm just not I'm not as fucked. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't feel such a need to decompress. I was a chef by trade for a long time, and I drank so much as a chef because it was just stress all day long. And then finally you have a little relief and you're like, oh, I got 2 hours till I got to pass out. Well, might as well get a little drunk.
Yeah, that's it, bro. It's fucking people got to look after themselves, and be careful when that shit goes down. Though I enjoyed it. Like, I enjoyed it, make the most of it. I love it. But then it's kind of like, in hindsight, I'm like, fuck, I actually feel better. Do you know what I mean?
Good, man.
Oh, we got some super chats here. Chris Cafu, man. I don't know. I fucking suck. Kalufa, man. Junior, $5.
Nice.
Woo, that's a beer. Generous, mate. Greetings from Bucks Country, Pennsylvania. Cheers. God bless Pennsylvania. And then Lisa,
I love Pennsylvania.
Lisa NW 503 Green gave us $1. Fucking thank you. Every small amount You're helping me. You're encouraging me to keep going and find new opportunities and new shit that we can do together. Every small amount counts. And then Oswald Mosley, $2. Yeah,
Nice.
boy. What a fucking legend. Thanks heaps, guys. I love your generosity.
Very cool.
We got heaps of stuff going, bro. I'm gonna
Yeah.
people, now it's like I've hit this point where people are buying shirts and people are donating, and it's like super encouraging to keep going, put out good content, and then like do more. You wouldn't believe the shit we're doing, bro. We're gonna create our own social media app, man. It's already up and running.
Very cool.
There will be a platform, bro, that there will be freedom of speech for Christians, conservatives, libertarians. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
There'll be none of this bullshit. It's happening, bro.
DIY, man. Do it the old school. Do it yourself.
Fuck yeah. Oh, the engineer who's created that app, he's worth mint, man. It's gonna be fucking huge.
Very cool.
I'll bring you in on it. I'll tell you more about it, because in a month's time, I've got a big meeting, and then it's all going ahead. It's all going ahead.
Good stuff, brother.
Fuck. Hang on. We'll read another article. Thanks for your donations. We'll come back to the comment section in a minute. There was more news in Canada. We might as well fucking hit it up, bro, because I don't get you on too often, so it's good to be like relevant. You know what the fuck's going on up there.
It's a nice change of pace for me too.
Oh, Ryan Goff, $2.99. Have a beer on me, mate. Thank you. Legendary. So this is this article. Trans Mountain, Canada approves $5.5 billion oil pipeline project. That's huge.
Yep. It's pretty big, but it's going to cost a hell of a lot more than that too. It's that's just a drop in the bucket to get it started, if they can get it started.
So this is all shale oil, is that right?
Yeah. So most of the oil is coming from Fort McMurray, where I was hauling pipe up to. So they call it the tar sands. So it's fracking and steam production to get the oil to come up. So then they refine it there, and they also have a pipeline that sends a lot of Canadian oil to Texas to be refined in Texas.
Yeah.
So the purpose of the Trans Mountain Pipeline is to keep our value from our oil in country, and I think that the pipeline is an excellent idea. It was essentially started by private oil companies. Kinder Morgan was getting it going, but there was opposition to it, and Kinder Morgan eventually kind of said, well, I don't know if we're going to go ahead with this. And Justin Trudeau, on a whim, said, well, we'll buy all your assets, we'll buy you out. And so they paid like $5.7 billion to Kinder Morgan just to have the assets, which is pipe that's sitting on dirt waiting to be assembled and welded, and all of the infrastructure. It's going to cost another $8 billion to get it going. So the whole project is going to cost between probably $13 and $15 billion once it's all done.
I'll read this super chat before it disappears.
Sure.
What was his name? I have to scroll up here. Sorry, guys. I need to get a mic stand. They'll be like, here we go. Oh, crap. Where is he gone now? Llama Dirk. A few beers does wonders to relax after a day like I had today at work. Damn straight. Good on you, mate. We all deserve. I reckon nothing wrong with a beer after a fucking big day's work. Thanks for your $5, you legend. But yeah, sorry, bro. I just make sure I give my people a shout out, you know.
Always, brother, always. Yeah, so Trans Mountain Pipeline, wonderful idea. I'm a firm supporter of it. But the problem is that we have too many people that are kind of like environmentalist type of people who are trying to stand in the way because they think pipelines are bad. Those types of people, what I try to bring up when I discuss it with them is that every house has a gas pipeline going to every single house in Canada. We have pipelines everywhere, but these people are focused on one pipeline because it makes the news. But they're not focused on, well, we already have a pipeline going from northern Alberta down to Texas that's shipping oil all the time.
Is that the Keystone pipeline?
It's part of it.
Oh yeah, that's part of it.
Yeah.
And so Trump helped push that one through.
Yeah, I'm very happy about that. I think it's great, but Canada does need to invest the money in it. So I think that we should be spending the money on getting it going. I wish it stayed in the private sector rather than the government buying the pipeline, because now every taxpayer is paying taxes for a pipeline that's not functioning, that won't be functioning for at least a year if everything goes really well. Excuse me. And there are litigation, there's lawsuits between British Columbia and Alberta. They're suing each other over the pipeline. And so the taxpayers of the provinces are paying for not only the pipeline federally, they're paying for the lawsuits of their provinces to fight and bicker over it. Canadian taxpayers are getting fleeced, and we're not getting any benefit from it. So what we really need to do is have a strong leadership that says, look, the federal government bought this, we're going to do it. Sorry, people who are concerned about pipelines, shut the F up. We're going to do it, because all of Canada is sitting here paying billions of dollars and we're not getting any revenue back. And that's just brutal for the Canadian taxpayers. We need someone to step in and say, you know what? Yeah. We're laying the pipe. We're doing it. Suck it up.
This is what Trudeau said in the article, right? Trudeau on Tuesday announced the new approval and said that all revenue the federal government earns from the project will fund a transition to a green economy. It's saying all of the funds. That's fucking pretty wild.
Yeah, well, I'm cool with that, but the problem is who dictates what a green economy is. So there are some people who say, well, a green economy is wind and solar only. So we're going to take money from tar sands and selling our oil, and we're going to put it all into a green economy. Well, we need to reinvest in the oil production, don't we? Because that's one of Canada's biggest gross domestic products, forestry and metals and oil. Canada's biggest GDP. We can't stray away from oil. We need to keep that in mind. So I'm cool with taking care of the environment.
Invest into innovation, so it's like reducing the environment, oil spills, and then efficiency for bloody machinery and trucks and cars, like whatever.
Yeah. Like better refinement practices, sure, I'm cool with that, as long as it's sensible. But the problem is that the term investing in green projects, it's kind of a wide open term. Depends on who is interpreting what that means.
Yeah. In Australia, right, I was saying in our election, I said maybe what we should do, I was saying we don't want to bring in a carbon tax. What we should do is the government should be like, right, we'll offer these companies and be like, right, you have to offer no deposit interest-free loans for people who want solar panels, solar hot water, water tanks. And I said car conversion. But anyway, the thing is that just after the election, I was watching the news and it said the government is now supporting these solar companies, and you can get interest-free, no deposit loans to get solar on your roof. And I was like, yes, that was something I was thinking would be great.
That's
because it probably won't be. For a while, we were doing these subsidies, and it was like $2,000, $3,000 that the government would pay towards your solar. So I think interest-free with no deposit is probably it's probably going to be cost less money for the taxpayers. And plus then people are taking it's their own initiative to be like, yeah, I want to invest in this. I'm going to take my money and invest in it. I'll pay it off. It's going to save me money. It's going to save on pollution. It will add value to that property as well. So it's kind of like you know, and then there's money to be made. There's the company's going to make money, the installer's going to make money.
Yeah,
people are going to save money on that
it's
power
socially
bill.
and fiscally responsible. I think that's the smart way to go.
It can be like an investment. That's why I bought solar on my roof. Like I've got solar panels and I have solar hot water. I got a rainwater tank. And my power bill, everyone's saying how expensive power is, and I'm like, hang on a minute. I think I pay $300 a year for power. That's it. That'd be it.
Yeah, my property that I have about 4 hours south of here, it's completely off the grid. Composting toilets, solar power. I'm 100% disconnected, so all I pay is the property tax each year, which is only a few $100s.
Fuck yes.
I can live in that home completely independent from any system. There's no sewage system. There's, my composting toilet turns stuff back into actual soil rather than thinking, well, we got to pollute somewhere. So I love that system. I'm 100%
on that,
it.
man. I reckon like that is a way that they can bring conservatives on board where we say like, hey, the government's gonna, pay the interest on these loans. It's going to be interest-free loans for you to invest in these things, because even like you said, like it would be awesome. I think conservatives like the idea of being self-sufficient. Like if I don't have to be hooked up to the power grid, the water grid, or the sewer grid, that's awesome. That's a win for me. I would love to be full independent, my house off the grid. Like that would be fucking. I think that's an incentive for conservative people, even libertarians. Are like, yeah, I want independence. I don't mind investing my money, but if the government could incentivize it in a way that's not a burden on taxpayers, it could probably be a net benefit for taxpayers. Do you know what I mean? The fact that people are taking on themselves and doing the investment, it could spur jobs and, you know what I mean, and profit and all this can be a profitable endeavor for the nation.
100%, absolutely.
That's fucking badass, bro, that your house is off the grid. I'm so jealous.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Like the one that I'm living in right now is hooked up and stuff, but my property that I built to retire in, eventually what I want to do is, I want to work till I'm about 55, and then retire and just be a pioneer. Hunt and forage for my food, can my stuff, mill my own flour, do all that kind of stuff. Like that's my dream.
Are you gonna have badass internet out there?
No internet.
Fuck, we need to get your internet out there, bro, because then we can just do, when we're old men, we can just be fucking talking shit all day on YouTube.
We'll see how technology evolves, but right now I actually find it a luxury to be in a place where I can be on my property, enjoying nature, and my phone doesn't work. I like it.
It's good to disconnect, bro.
Yeah.
When I got booted off Facebook, like I was fucking addicted to Facebook. All these videos, if you look at my earlier videos, and I was getting fuck all views on YouTube, right? My second interview I did, right? I interviewed this politician, Fraser Anning. I barely knew who he was. I was like, oh yeah, I'll go talk to that dude. That got 86,000 or 88,000 views, like bang, in a few days. And the same video on YouTube had 80 views. It's fucking crazy. But when they booted me off Facebook, and I was like, no, you bastards. But I stopped using my phone for months. Hey, I was like, damn, I'm disconnected now. And I kind of like, I think I got the balance back. Hey, like now I'm on fucking, if you look up, I'm like on Twitter, Telegram, MeWe, the Slate board, which is the social media site that my mates created.
Yeah.
Twitter, Instagram, right? So, and YouTube. Like I'm on all these social media sites now. But I think I got the balance right because I had that fucking bang. It got ripped off me. I was just on Facebook. It got fucking taken off me. But it was a real positive. Hey, I was like, wow, I was able to recalibrate my life instead of being fucking addicted big time.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I just deleted my Twitter, my Facebook, also deleted MeWe. I was in your group on MeWe as well,
Mm.
but yeah, I just deleted all those last week, I guess. I made a little video on it on my Aaron the Proud Boy YouTube channel that I have, and I'm still going through a little bit of a withdrawal about Facebook. I didn't really like Twitter too much, but I was mainly just being an idiot there and having fun. But you know, Facebook for me became part of my life, and I've been using Facebook for well over a decade, I guess. You know, I remember I was big into MySpace and reluctant to switch over to Facebook, but when I did, that was it. Now I'm looking at my phone and I'm like, okay, well, I've got Parler, which I find is a really, really good source of connecting with conservative-minded people. It's kind of like a balance between Reddit, Facebook, and Twitter all in one. So I'm using that now, and then I have Telegram just to be in touch with my mates.
Yeah.
And that works really well. But yeah, I
Yeah.
thought about ditching YouTube too, but there's too many good shows like the Dusty Bogan show that I would miss greatly if I went off YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube's awesome, dude. And I think I love Telegram. I think it's like we've got all our Proud Boy stuff on Telegram, so we run
Yeah,
our vetting pages and our chapters on there. So that's like I love that, and I love the I got my Dusty Bogan's mates on Telegram, so it's like that's where I'm getting all my. That's like my Facebook Messenger style
yeah,
interactions, and then yeah, all the other social media apps I use, I just post memes on them now because it
yeah,
seems that if I post the video, they fucking melt down, they post block me, they go ballistic, and I'm like, some of these videos that they've post blocked me on, it's like me going and talking to like Vietnamese people who are saying
yeah,
like, be careful about communism to Australia, and
yeah,
talking to Indians. I spoke to some Sikhs, and they're like, "Yeah, we love Australia. We love democracy, freedom of speech, capitalism, freedom of religion. We love this place. It's amazing." So, and then they post block me, and you're like, "What's the
yeah,
fucking problem? What's the problem
yeah.
there?"
That's why I got rid of it. I knew that you know I had been booted off of Facebook a couple of times for being a Proud Boy, and I went through what Proud Boys call the Great Purge in October,
Mm.
where they pretty much banned all the Proud Boys. You know, we all kind of got back on, and I went through it, and I realized, like, you know, I'm getting suspended temporarily and stuff. It's just a matter of time where they just take the rug out from me. So I just decided, you know, I'll beat them to the punch. I'm going to delete my Facebook, and I find it's good, but you know, like I said, it's taken a little getting used to.
Yeah, because I mean, I think I was addicted to Facebook because I was posting my videos and getting 5,000 views. Every video would be minimum 5,000, and you're like, you get like a fucking goes to your head, and you're just like, ah. And I don't think the videos were even that good, but I think people are interested in like an average bloke who's just having a go and goes
Yeah,
and talks to someone. It's like, hey, on, fucking tell me what the hell this event's about. And I don't even really, I'm just learning on my feet, listening to them and listening to the speeches. And like, I think people liked it. And I think Facebook and that, they're worried about that shit because they paint an identity politics, like their politics is maybe it's divide and conquer. They divide us into identity politics groups, keep us separated so that
yeah,
they can come in and control the situation while we're all divided. And when people are like, the thing is, the Proud Boys are a unifying force. You got multiple races and multiple religions coming together in
yep,
their love of Western culture and saying, like, look what is being created. People, yeah, there was some mistakes. People learned from their mistakes. They refined, and look what has been created. Look what we have here. It's a meritocracy, capitalism, democracy, freedom of
it's
speech, freedom
awesome.
of assembly, freedom of religion, like everything. There's all the relationships. If you're in a relationship, it's a voluntary interaction. There's no forced marriages. It's if you're working somewhere, it's a voluntary interaction. If you're not happy there, you can move on. If the boss isn't happy, he can move you on. Like everything's voluntary. If you want to be a Christian or an atheist or any other belief system. That's a voluntary choice. It's not a system of control here. People have an element of freedom, and people are not judged because they're gay. Or here's the thing, like I'm for traditional marriage.
Yeah.
I'm more of a conservative personally. This is why I love the Proud Boys, because the Proud Boys are more libertarian. So I can be a conservative Christian. I can be as conservative as I like, and the boys will be like, "That's all good, mate. We encourage you in that. That's fine. That's what you're into." They believe in freedom of religion and freedom of speech. So I'm like, that's the people I want to be around and investing in. I don't want to be around people who are fucking have this idea of control, like the authoritarian left. I think the left wing has been taken over by authoritarians, and it's making
Huge.
the left weren't so bad, but they've been taken over by authoritarians.
Yeah, absolutely. The left is it's very Orwellian. It's very Big Brother. It's you have to think this way. You have to say these things. You have to say yes to this and no to that. And if you don't, you're demonized. Rush Limbaugh actually a couple days ago made an interesting comment. He was a former Speaker of the House under the Clinton era, I believe. He said, if you were a Democrat nowadays and you stood up in front of your party and you said, you know what, the founding fathers of America are great and America is in good shape right now and I'm very happy with America, you would be booed off the stage.
Yeah.
So that really is indicative of the left now globally in Western culture or Westernized countries. The left is unanimously becoming this authoritarian, real vengeance happy type of people that they want you to toe their line. And the beautiful thing about Proud Boys, like you're saying, is that as long as you share the basic values of Western culture is the best culture, you believe in free speech, you believe in your right to protect your house and your home, you believe in traditional marriage, you know what? It doesn't matter what else you believe. As long as you have those core values, that's enough. And that is the true beauty of what the Proud Boys are and what people who push in libertarian and conservative ideals, regardless of whether they're in Proud Boys or not, it's free. And that's why the Proud Boys appeal to people like you and I, is that it's maximum freedom for people. It's a beautiful thing. And I was actually thinking about it today, about what was my impression of the Proud Boys before I got to know any. I heard about the Proud Boys and I saw the Rufio Pan Man punch, the punch heard around the world thing that happened in Portland, Oregon. And I saw that and I thought, oh, these guys are interesting. What are they about? And I heard that they were patriots, but the picture that was painted was they were extreme patriots. And I heard some of they're white supremacists and stuff. And I thought, oh, I need to look into this. I'm curious about it. I certainly, if they're white supremacists, I don't want anything to do with that, because I don't toe the racism line. I'm not interested in that kind of garbage. I think it's stupid. But then I looked into it and I found out about what they were, and I just fell in love with the fraternity. And I'm so proud to be a Proud Boy. I'm very, very happy that I'm a part of this fraternity, and I'm so happy that you're in it too. I love seeing what the Australian guys are doing. Tim Willett down there is he's doing great to keep his boys together, and you're doing such a great thing for just providing a platform of media. And like you were saying about Facebook not wanting people to have this middle ground where anybody can get along, I think that you're bang on about that. I've seen you go to events where you're talking to people, and I have a pretty good feeling that you may disagree with a lot of what's being said, but you stay unbiased and you allow people to speak, and you just encourage them to say what they want to say. And that is what journalism should be. That is what journalism was. And it's not what journalism is anymore as far as mainstream.
That's right, man. I will read a few super chats. My mate texted me. He's like, "What are you doing?" He must have given me a super chat. So here's one. My last name can be difficult to pronounce. Kaufman. Keep doing what you're doing. Get on a Streamlab. And I had a Streamlab, and I put a Streamlab link in my last video, and I didn't know how to fucking work it. I was like, and then I checked my Streamlabs last night, and I'm like, someone gave me $10, and it didn't pop up. So I was like, I just took the link out of this video for Streamlabs because I was like, fuck, I don't want people to donate money and have me not read the comment out. I was like, that'd be dog. But I will suss out my Streamlabs. So Chris Kaufman, thanks, Chris Kaufman Jr. Thanks, bro. $5. What a fucking stud. What else we got here? Coil Soul. Here we go. Dusty, take my shekels. Don't let your brother beat you. What a legend. Thank you. $2. What a legend. I love the small donations too, eh? Like, if you can only afford to give me a tiny amount, give me 10 cents. I think I gave Revenge of the Sis, what was it? Was it Nightwave Radio? I think I gave him $1 in a super chat, and I was like, give me a shout out. Tell everyone to watch my live. My next live after your show. And he gave me a shout out. I was like, yeah, best dollar ever spent. It's fucking sick.
Very cool.
Here we go.
Got any more of those super chats?
Yeah, I got Gav Patel, my mate. He's a local living legend. Proud boy. Here's a beer, Dusty. Love you, buddy. This guy is, I'm telling you, Gav. This dude, Gav, right?
Yeah.
I remember going through a tough time, just feeling fucked, man. Just when I joined the Proud Boys, and I was on antidepressants and fucking drinking all the time, and I just felt fucked, right? And the Proud Boys like helped me out, man. Just connected with me. Gav's like a good, tough, cool guy, and he was like, "Why do you doubt yourself? Back yourself up." You know, Dusty, you can believe in yourself, mate. You're good. Why do you talk down on yourself? And I was like, whoa. And I think I tell you what, man, Gav was the first dude in my life to encourage me like that. I was like, holy fuck.
So cool.
It meant a lot to me, hey? So Gav's like, he's got a special place in my heart because I'm like, this dude encouraged me when I was probably feeling down and like shit, and I was like, yeah, you're right. I should back myself. What am I doing? And I was just like, felt this kind of encouragement. You know what I mean? I've been so encouraged by the Proud Boys. Like, I'm telling you, bro, it's been so good for my life. Like, I think there's a thing where, like, I don't know, I didn't grow up with, my dad wasn't around much, but to have like other men encouraging you in like a healthy way, like it's not like, yeah, fucking get smashed. Like, we do a little bit of like binge drinking and being idiots, of course, but the real meat of it, when it's like they encourage you through your shit, through your tough times,
brotherhood,
when you're fucking feeling shit or you're going through a tough time, they tell you they believe in you, and you're like, fuck, like it means a lot. I think it means a lot from other men. Do you know what I mean? And you're like, fuck,
absolutely.
Not all alpha fucking like who's the toughest sledging each other. It's like there's moments there where we back each other up. I've been fucking helped out by these guys, eh?
Proud of your boys.
Fucking oath. It's so good, man. I'm loving it.
Very cool.
I think that was the last of them. Did I miss one? There's Gav. Oh yeah, 1, 2, 3. I hope I think I got everyone. And like maybe at the end we can read through some random comments that people
yeah, man.
Yeah, here we go. Who's this? ROTC Bear. I seen him last night. He was sitting in the waiting, and it was like 10 hours before we were going live. I seen his comment in this, and he's like, "Am I the only one here?" And it was like 10 hours. It was 10 hours beforehand.
Get in the Telegram chat, brother.
He needs to get in the Telegram chat. If you go to my dustybogan.com, there's a link to my Telegram. That's where I do most of my just talking back and forth and that, eh? So if you want to talk to Dusty like fucking 24/7 almost, whenever I've got my phone handy, mate, I'm fucking there. I'm there for you guys too, eh?
It's a great chat. I love it.
Yeah. And then you've got your sweet videos, bro.
Working
My
on it, yeah.
You're my fucking ad man, bro. Creating the ads.
I'm working on it, man. I'm just gonna keep working on it and keep putting stuff together. I got a little editing program thing that I'm gonna start working on probably this weekend. That I got a little bit of time and see if I can do a little promo thing for you.
Fuck yeah. The Dusty. Ooh, it's getting dusty. You got to watch it. Jump on my Telegram, boys. Yeah, how's it go, mate? Yeah. Here we go. I got another 2 super chats coming through.
Excellent.
I suck at pronouncing names. Am I like fucking retarded? I couldn't read until I was in high school, eh?
I was pretty sure that last one was Kaufman. You were butchering it pretty bad.
Okay. Fructose corn, is that right? $2.
Nice name.
Prager Underworld, $1.99. Dusty, we need you to do some interpretive dance. Yeah, mate. They'll be fucking. I'll get me Aboriginals around. We'll have a fucking lap. Oh, this is the thing about interpretive dance. Let me tell you this shit, right? It's like, you know how I say, we might find ourselves and we're like, the Bible, that's crap. We don't understand what they're saying, like metaphor, hyperbole. They're talking about something like transcendent, right? They use story. And this is like the Aboriginal people, right? And we've all done it. Our culture, we've done it, but we're kind of disregarding it now. But, it used to be a thing, like, and they'd be like, that plant is poisonous. Don't eat that plant. Do you know what I think? The Aboriginals, I think in our culture for hundreds of years, we were like, don't do that. Don't eat that plant. It will kill you. And people would have kept eating it and dying. And they were like, fuck, we need to try something else. So it's like, this is when we start embedding the ideas of don't eat the plant into our architecture, our artwork. And it's like the Aboriginal, he puts on his lap and he paints himself and he does a war dance about not eating the plant, because then getting told not to do something doesn't really work. It's you have to embed it into your culture, into like a positive way where people voluntarily interact with it, and then they, from the inside out, they go, I won't eat that plant. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's really cool.
That's what it is, bro. And this is why this is the problem when we kind of, as a culture, we abandoned Christianity, or we abandoned our culture and our heritage. We traded it in for like nihilistic atheism. Not all people have done that, but I think there's like an undercurrent where we traded in our culture, our heritage, our tradition, Christianity, or these stories, these metaphors, the hyperbole, and we were like, we traded it in, and we left ourselves with nothing but the stimulation of our nerve endings and our emotional gratification. And then we were like soulless and empty, and we forgot about the art of the richness of the storytelling, the culture and tradition. Do you know what I mean? And it's on the way back, but it's on the way back, I think.
Interesting. You got some really good points, brother.
Oh, it's like Jordan Peterson, bro. People are, when I read Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules to Life, I was like, yeah, I actually believe when I first came to Christianity, it's the same as coming to the Proud Boys. It's like, just like that 12 Rules book, he's sharing the stories, these ancient stories, in new light, in relevance, and it's inspiring that culture and tradition and values, and it's starting to venerate it again. So we start venerating it in our mind, and it starts to build you up. It comes like a psychological, spiritual transaction. And whether that be in the Proud Boys or in just going to a church, do you know what I mean? You're like, wow, I'm starting to get back into the community. I'm starting to get back into the culture, into the tradition. And then you start to, there's like a psychological and a community healing that happens around our life, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I find the Proud Boys for me has actually made me work harder in my own life. It's given me more drive. You know, I'm pretty driven, but it's amplified that for me. The accountability to other men who, and most of the Proud Boys that I know are hardworking guys, entrepreneurs, or else, you know, blue collar workers that bust their chops every day, that have a sense of work ethic. And when you surround yourselves with people with high work ethic and high drive for success, it only improves you, because you kind of emulate what you see, and you want to be that alpha around them, and not in a jockish way, but in a strength of character and strength of deed. And I find that the Proud Boys amplify that in men. And I've seen a handful of younger guys. One of the guys in my chapter in the Nomads, he is in his early 20s, and over the period of probably the last 2 months from when he joined us to now, I've seen a metamorphosis in him where he is realizing, I need to set my own bar higher. I need to emulate what I'm seeing in my brothers. I want to be better. And it's not something where we are all pressuring anybody, but it's such a healthy environment of men, for men. And to me, it's one of the coolest things that I've been a part of in my adult life. I'm so proud of the fraternity, and I get to interact with awesome people all over the world, and you know, getting to interact with you is such a treat. I really appreciate it. But it's such a great thing. It really drives men to be better.
It
And
is
I
such
find
a
it,
great thing, man. And then they keep writing all these hit pieces about us and undermining it, and you're like, what the fuck? That's just not the reality, you know?
absolutely.
I
Yeah,
got a
it's
super chat from Gav. I'll read out 299. Never knew it meant that much. Thanks, brother. That's my mate Gav who helped me out.
very cool.
And because this is the thing, when I came a Proud Boy, I was going through a bit of a shit time. I had all these injuries at my workplace, right?
Mhm.
And I went to work and I was like, I'm going on compo. Like, I'm just fucked. And my boss said to me, he's like, if I think he was only joking, so he wasn't serious, but he said if anyone else goes on compo, they're losing their job. It was only a joke because we had a lot of guys on compo, and I was like, all right, I'll fucking suck it up. My missus was just about the end of her uni, so I was like, I'm the sole income winner. I've got to fucking pull it together. I don't want to lose my
Attaboy.
job. I know it was only a joke. But then I just went home, went to the doctor, got fucking high powered painkillers and antidepressants, and I'm just drinking hardcore every night. Luckily enough, I found the Proud Boys around the same time. And this is the thing, the Proud Boys, like I've previously before that, I was serving my local church for about 8 years, doing a lot of
Mhm.
volunteering. But finding the Proud Boys, I was like, sweet, this is like a way to like pivot from volunteering in the church to like actually participating in culture and being like, hey, there's a cultural problem. Like Milo Yiannopoulos says, some people don't like the guy, but he says, I think he's quoting Breitbart. He says, culture's downstream, politics is downstream to culture. And that's the Proud Boy thing. Like, we got to change culture if we're not happy with the politics. Do you know what I mean? We need a cultural participation. And when I found the Proud Boys, I wasn't doing too well. But what there was guys who were like, let's go to these rallies, let's go to these shows, let's catch up for beers. And you're around each other all the time, and you're getting upward momentum. Because like you were saying about the guys and their work ethic, there's this fucking venerate the entrepreneur, like we venerate the housewife, we venerating family. Essentially all that is just venerating family, understanding that, it is just venerating family, essentially venerating the entrepreneur, and then
Yes.
being practical about participating in culture. Like, it's a lot easier to be like, yeah, I'll go to that rally, I'll go to that show when you're with 10, 20 guys, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's It's awesome. It's one thing is I I'm glad I live in a very conservative town. It's a really quite a small town. People are predominantly conservative. I have people asking me every once in a while, like, "Whoa, what is Proud Boys?" Because they see my Proud Boys tattoo, and they see me wearing my Proud Boys hats and stuff. And I just got this "Make Canada Great Again" hat, or "Make Canada Proud Again." So I just had that made up. And people ask me about it, and it's so nice to be able to share it with people who are not already brainwashed to think that we are something that we're not. Every once in a while, I do come across people that are like, "Oh, Proud Boys. Oh, I didn't know you were a racist." I'm like, "I didn't know I was a racist. That's strange. My last girlfriend was half black, and her mother was black, and in fact, I love black culture more than white culture. I don't think white culture really has too much of a culture, but Western culture obviously is
they've
the
sucked
best.
it out of. They've tricked us, bro. Like we have a heap of culture. Our culture, it's like this, bro. The woman gets pregnant, and guess what happens? They have a gender reveal. They have a baby shower. They have birthdays. They have Christmas cakes, birthday cakes, and we sing happy birthday. When you meet someone, you stand up and you shake their hand. This is all Western culture. It's so embedded in us that when you go to a gender reveal or a baby shower or birthday, or you're singing happy birthday, or you're shaking someone's hand, or you're wearing a suit, that's all Western European tradition and culture. When you go to Easter and Christmas, when you have your public holidays, when you celebrate them events, even the food you eat, even McDonald's is actually Western culture. Do you know what I mean? Like when you eat Indian or Thai food or Chinese food or sushi, and we understand, or a kebab, and you're like, well, okay, that's the cultural food. But when you go to McDonald's, just remember this, that's your cultural food. Actually is. Like hamburgers and hot dogs and bloody meat pies and whatever it is, it's embedded so much into our culture that it's just flying under the radar, and it's all there. It's all there. When you go up to someone, right, you see your mate, and you even when if you're somewhere and someone does a speech, and everyone like stand up and clap as they walk in. If it's someone honorable, it's someone's wedding, a white wedding. This is Western culture. This is European culture. I think European culture is all that, but also European cultures become Western culture, which is cultural participation. For anyone can participate in our culture, because I think it's awesome. I think when someone walks in, like when the bride and groom walk in to the room and we stand and we clap, or someone's coming in to do a speech and we like, let's honor this person, we clap, or we clap, even clapping, even shaking our hands, standing up, looking someone in the eye, shaking their hand. This is a cultural tradition.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those are a Western reverence that we have for people. Yeah. I fully agree with you.
We need to be aware of this stuff. Hey, like I think it's so embedded. Like when we have Valentine's Day, that's Western culture. When we have Halloween, when we have St. Patrick's Day or Oktoberfest, we have all these celebrations. We have Australia Day, we have Labor Day, Anzac Day. We have all these public holidays. It's even like the local beer brewery tour. That local beer brewery tour, we did the tour, and you're like, wow, I feel more a part of the culture, more a part of the tradition. Is my head halfway on this?
I don't know. That's working. I think that's it's a good point. We need to recognize.
There we go.
We need to recognize Western culture and be thankful for what it is. And I think that it's important to take a little bit of time and recognize why it is the best. And it's not to say that other cultures are no good, but I'm a firm believer that Western culture is the best, and that has nothing to do with race whatsoever. I've had someone say, "Well, Western culture is the best." Oh, that's racist. I said, No. For example, America was founded by many different races of people, you had Spanish people, and you had Anglophone, whites and Germans and Europeans and stuff, but you also had people from South America that became a part of it. You had people from the West Indies that came into it. Black culture came into it. And so there are many races that created the Western culture in America. So it has nothing to do with race. Saying that white is what Western culture is some people have that misconception. I think it's important to clear that up.
Yeah, for sure, dude. And I think like we're the ones who created, even if it's something like the Magna Carta, where they were like, hang on a minute, the king is under one law. There's one law for the king and all the people. Or you have your constitution, do you know what I mean? And we have our constitution as well. This is all a part of our culture. And when we made them laws, when we came to a point where we're like, hang on a minute, this is the way we want to do it now. We've fucking learned the hard way. And then we actually kind of did create an inclusive society that is embedded with freedom. Do you know what I mean? Because I think there was times where we were fucking had an overlord. We had a system of control that was lording over us, which is happening now with the authoritarian left. Like we came from authoritarian tribal or kings and queens scenario where we like,
Yes.
hang on a minute, we're not fucking happy about that. And it was hard fought and won with blood, sweat, and tears. Do you know what I mean? To get us things like the Magna Carta, the Constitution, all this awesome stuff. And that's why people come to the West. That's why we celebrate the West. Didn't happen anywhere else. You know what I mean?
And now we find that the left wants to break it all down and go back to the way that it was. How America broke away from the British and created their own sovereignty and their own constitution, created a beautiful country that, sure, it's had its downs, but it's also had great ups that have provided so much for the world. But now the left wants to start embracing socialism in America. I think it's just insane.
Selling out to the UN. Like the thing is, it's like the UN is using political correctness. They're like, we need to do this. They're tricking people through political correctness to sell out their culture, their tradition, their heritage, their self-governance. They're using the PC madness, the political correct madness. They're using that to fucking pull on your heartstrings so you freely, voluntarily give up your sovereignty and your culture and tradition to pretty much to the UN, to this one world big government that's for some reason. And one thing I can't understand about the UN, it's like we've given these countries, they come in the UN and they get voting rights, but they're not even democracies. Then a lot of these people are unelected officials. So like, why would we want to give unelected dictators or communists or Islamic bloody dictatorships? Why would we want to give them any voting rights? They shouldn't have any voting rights. We should expel them from the UN. Number one, I don't think we should be in the UN, but we should expel every communist and dictatorship should be expelled from the UN. You don't get voting rights because you're not there. You're not voted into that position. Sorry, mate. See you later.
Yeah. I agree. I think the UN is a horribly corrupt institution. My mother was she worked in Africa for a few years, and she helped people get medical attention from Djibouti to get into Ethiopia. And we're talking people with gangrene limbs and legs falling off and stuff like that. Well, the United Nations had a plane that was set up for humanitarian aid where they were supposed to be bringing people from Djibouti, Africa, to Ethiopia to get medical attention. My mom found, because she was going to the UN people, and she's saying, I want to help these people. And they said, no, don't do it. And she found out they have this plane that's designed to be bringing these people back and forth, but they were shuttling bureaucrats back and forth instead of people in medical need. And they threatened my mother, saying, you keep your mouth shut about this, which she didn't because she's a Christian and she believes in taking care of people. My mom spent her own money bringing people across the country to get medical attention. And, she spent a good chunk of her retirement fund just helping people, get their gangrene limbs taken care of, where the UN was doing nothing about it. So, like, I have a, secondhand experience through my own mother that shows that the UN is not actually helping people. What they're really doing is stockpiling a bureaucracy that is controlling people. It's wicked. I really
That's
think
right. And
wicked.
it's all a virtue signal, dude. It's all like, we need an X amount of money donated from everyone in the UN. They're taking our fucking hard tax-paying money, donating it to the UN, which it's all bureaucracy, wasting and eroding the fucking hard-earned cash from the people of the earth. And then it's choked up in bureaucracy and fucking evaporating before our very eyes. But the thing is, everything they do is just a virtue signal. It's all like, yes, we're doing something. We're doing something. We have all these billions of dollars and we're fucking doing something. And it's choked up in bureaucracy. And like you're saying, someone wants to go and do something. And what they can't legally do it because the UN is the fucking got a pile of fucking paperwork that you got to sign off on before you can do anything.
Yeah,
it's bullshit.
They're the big brother. UN is like the big sort of thing where the carbon tax is just one figment of the whole thing. Carbon tax is not solving pollution. It's not taking care of the environment. Yet people in the UN are saying, well, all countries need to get into carbon taxation. So again, they're creating bureaucracy to funnel money away from the citizens, disempowering the people by saying, well, we need you to pay the money for this, and we're going to solve the problems. Well, the problems don't get solved. It's like Democrats trying to say, well, we're for the minorities in America. Well, Democrats are not. They just use them for votes, and then they piss all over them once they get voted in. It's just sickening bureaucracy that happens with the UN, and I'm all for abolishing it. I think that Canada should pull out of it. I think America should pull out of it. I just don't think that there's any real benefit. I think that people need to be left to their own decisions to choose where they want to put their money. And if people don't want to put their money towards humanitarian stuff, I think they should not be forced to. But I think that if people are aware of the true problems that humanity, which is built into us, given to us by God as a programming to take care and love each other, I think that we would naturally fall in line with helping people in need. But it's things like the UN that stand in the way and say, no, we're going to build a brick wall between you and those people, and we are going to be the conduit.
The biggest bull crap about all this, right? The best value for money when it comes to helping people, it was when it's you're volunteering. Because if you have to pay everyone an hourly rate to get something done, it's going to be impossible. Like, I've seen it with my local church, dude. We're all together. There's hundreds of us. We're probably chipping in, like, I think most working age people, families, they might put 10 or 20 bucks in. It's not a lot. Not a lot a week. It's it's jack all. And some people don't give it all, and some people give more, right?
Sure.
And it's all voluntary. We voluntarily give them money. But the thing is, there's not a lot of wages. There's the bare minimal amount of actual wages. Sure, you need someone in there, like a minimal bureaucracy to like manage shit. But everything else that we do, it's all we're all volunteering. It's all we're giving up our own free time to fucking run youth groups and kids ministries and bringing people in with buses to come to, which is like a huge benefit because these kids come from poor families. They're waking up with no breakfast. We send a bus. We have bus loads of kids coming in and getting breakfast and in a safe environment where they're learning some positive life skills. Same with the youth group on a Friday night. Same with all the young adults where they're getting good role models. And, there's food, there's clothing, there's help for all these people. But this is the thing. If we had to put a dollar value on every hour that was volunteered, we would not have enough money. There's no money to do it. And this is the thing about the fucking bureaucracy of government in the UN. I think it's stifling generosity. Like, I think let the churches, let the let them organizations unleash that generosity. Let them do what they actually voluntarily want to do financially
Yes.
and giving up their hours. And I think you're going to see more. And I think that kind of help, people are like, this guy's volunteering here. He's not getting paid to do this. He's here because he wants to do it. And it becomes like the recipient is also like, they are not like, the wall's not up. They're like, oh, okay, this dude's there's like genuine something here. And they're like, they receive the help better, I think, as well.
Yeah. It's more more genuine that way. It's more tangible. It's also more efficient. So I fully agree with you. Cut the bureaucracy out. Of course, you need someone to take care of just making sure the budget is balanced and that the money is actually going where it needs to. Sure, that's fine. But you look at things like UNICEF, which is one of the biggest charities for impoverished children, and they say that it's such a small fraction of what's actually donated goes to tangibly helping kids because of bureaucracy. And it's one of the biggest charities out there. So we need to get grassroots.
Yeah, I've got a book up there called Mission Drift, and it's all about this guy. He run an NGO, and it was something like, it was a ridiculous amount of money, like $2 billion a year that he had to manage. And he said he spent, I think in the book, he's like, he spent 15 years in Africa, right? And he said, it's like whatever percent finally gets there, say if 20% gets there, right, after all the bureaucracy and the wages, because it's all these wages of people doing the work, the other one getting paid. It's creating jobs for people essentially who are like helping them, and there's actual minimal amount of the person receiving help or getting a hand up or getting re-skilled and learning how to get a job or self-employment or manage their life better. 20% of that flows through. Most of it's bureaucracy. But what this guy was saying is, out of the 20% of people who actually eventually receive it, they said it was like a 98% of people never got lifted out of poverty, and whatever help they got would be spent on like prostitution, drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, and gambling. 98%. And it's just destruction. And he said, what this guy said, he said he had 10 years in Africa doing this, and he's like, this is not happening. We need a cultural revolution. And he said, well, what we're going to do is we're only going to help people who are Christian, who have a Christian basis. And our focus was on like helping them spiritually have a cultural shift. And once they see a cultural shift, then they would help them with the financial stuff and being generous, because then the money would flow. There would be the flow-on effect through the community. That's what they were after.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yes. Send me a picture of the of that book in your Dusty Bogan chat on Telegram. I'll order that. I'd be happy to read that.
For sure, bro. It's a good read. How about this? I got another article for you from Canada.
Yeah.
Aurora Cannabis prepared for expansion of Canadians' cannabis market. Do you know anything about this?
Yeah, Aurora is, I believe, Canada's largest producer of legal marijuana. The Canadian government, when they rolled out the legalization, they said, well, you can legally have marijuana, but we're not going to legalize the edibles. So Aurora is really capitalizing big time. They are essentially a monopoly in the market of medical marijuana, recreational marijuana, and now getting into the edibles thing. I'm indifferent about the marijuana issue. I used to smoke it all the time. Several years ago, I quit, and very, very rarely do I ever engage in it anymore, and kind of happier that way. So, by all means, I'm cool with people that want to smoke pot. I'm really cool with the government getting a good taxation from marijuana. Aurora is probably going to produce billions of dollars worth of income for Canada over the next several years. So I'm all for that, and also they're a big employer. They're converting airplane hangars into production facilities. That's insane. So
yeah, so
good
there's
on them.
making money. So you're telling me across Canada you can buy weed now for
Yes.
just to fucking smoke it?
Yeah. Each province has their own rules. So there aren't that many dispensaries that are government regulated dispensaries, but in every province you can order medical marijuana, or no, it's old term now. It's you can order marijuana through the websites, the government websites, and they'll ship it to you, and it's pretty high test stuff, that's for sure. So yeah, you can buy marijuana legally in Canada, everywhere in Canada. You can possess it, but there are some sort of regulations where they say, well, we don't want the illicit market to be thriving, so you have to be able to show that you actually purchased it from the government if checked. But come on, the police are not actually going around looking for receipts for your marijuana. They've pretty much been hands off for a long, long time. Like 10 years ago, I could walk around downtown Vancouver and police would see me smoking a joint and they'd be like, hey, put that out. Well, it was still a criminal thing back then, but they were just like, put that out. I just drop it on the ground and I wait for them to walk away and pick it back up and smoke it again. But so, Canada is very, very accepting towards marijuana. The majority of people in Canada are okay with marijuana. I wouldn't say the majority smoke it, but the majority of people recognize it's not a bad thing. I think it's pretty destructive to people's motivation. I know that I would have been leaps and bounds ahead of where I'm at right now if I never did smoke pot. So I recognize, hey, it's not good for you as far as your motivation. If you're like, well, I'm just happy making, $10 an hour or $12 an hour, whatever it is. Yeah, I smoke pot and I, drink a little bit and that's cool and that's life. A lot of people live that lifestyle where they're just kind of stuck in it. So it's a big motivation killer. But, by all means, I think it's a great thing to tax it. I'm happy that Canada has such massive investment, like Aurora Cannabis getting into it. And there's other very large companies getting into it as well. So as long as Canada's getting some tax, I'm cool with it.
I'm hoping we roll it out, dude. Like Canada's leading the way by the sounds of it. Hey, because this isn't in the UK. I mean, America's got it's got it legalized in half of its states, or not quite half of its states?
Not quite half. I think maybe 10 or 12 states out of the 50 are legalized with it. And I know Colorado is fully legal with it. They're super chill about it. Like you can just buy it anywhere. Essentially, any store can sell it there. So it's not even as regulated as it is here. But I think that it's a sensible thing that the government should be able to reap the benefit of taxation from marijuana, because a lot of people are going to buy it. And if they buy it through the government, then the whole of society benefits. So I'm cool with that.
I think it's good. I wonder, like, my theory was always like, I know when I was a kid, right, would smoke weed. And this is what happened to us. We're all smoking weed, buying off a few dealers. Next minute, years down the track, they were like, hey, boys, I'm selling ecstasy. Someone tried the ecstasy. Next thing you know, pretty much most of all of us had tried ecstasy. Then a few years later, the dealer's like, yeah, I'm selling speed now. And a few of the boys, they started booting up speed. And I think I stopped hanging out with them boys by luck. Like I stopped smoking pot when I was fairly young, but the fact that when you're buying it off a drug dealer, that's where it becomes a gateway drug, because drug dealers sell drugs. They're not just selling pot. Like there might be steroids and fucking guns and heaps of different shit. These people are selling everything they can to make money. Like it's
criminals
not just
will be
pot
criminals.
they're selling, So like I'm wondering if this is gonna take the weed off the gangs and the drug dealers, and I wonder if there's gonna be like a positive flow-on effect just from that alone,
I think that it has put a very small dent in the criminality element of marijuana sales. I know that a lot of people that smoke pot don't want to order the government pot. There are people that are paranoid of thinking, "Oh, I'm put on a list if I do it." And also the availability, from what I've seen, is still there. If you want to buy marijuana in Canada, a lot of people are still buying it from the guy who has a grow up instead of going to the government. Now, the government's still making a lot of money off it, but there is quite a lot of people that don't want the government stuff. And so I think that the criminality, it's just a drop in the bucket. And one of the concerns when Canada was talking about legalizing marijuana is, well, what about the gangs that are involved heavily in the marijuana trade? Will they not just move to other things? And pretty much every other thing is a more harmful thing. So that was a concern.
They could go legit, you know what I mean?
Well, I think a lot of criminals that saw that they could take their stockpiles of cash that they hid under their bed, and they could go and invest in an actual business or a dispensary and be on the up and up, and then actually, justify all of that money sitting under their mattress over a period of time. So there is that, and that I guess is better. But it hasn't stopped the criminal element from doing what they do. And I don't know whether the criminal element in Canada has switched over to other things. But the one thing that maybe gives me an indication that they have is the opioid crisis, is what they call it. I don't believe it's called an opioid crisis. I think it's a flooding the market with opiates by the pharmaceutical companies that end up creating street drug users. And fentanyl, obviously, it's a global issue. Many countries are struggling with fentanyl. I saw a story in the States where there was fentanyl found in street sold marijuana. I don't know why anyone would do that, why anyone would put it in that, but there were people ODing off of pot in an isolated incident because fentanyl was in the pot.
Holy crap.
Now,
full on.
I don't see why anyone would be like, hey, let's take this horrible drug and sprinkle it into the marijuana. Like, are you trying to kill your customers? Like, it's not very smart business. But I've actually heard of that. And so the fentanyl, I believe, is now the big moneymaker for the criminal element, the biker gangs and the Asian gangs. Those are the kind of the two elements that Canada really has. Is we got biker gangs, and then we've got Asian gangs that are kind of.
So what are Asian gangs, like Middle Eastern gangs, or are they like Oriental?
No, primarily Chinese and Japanese, from what I've seen. Vancouver has a massive Asian population, Chinese and Japanese, and some Korean. Chinese is probably the heaviest demographic of a race in Vancouver, and there are what people would call the Asian gangs in Vancouver. It was just where I used to live, where I grew up, so I kind of know that. I can't really speak for the rest of Canada, but as far as gangs go, we have our Asian gangs, and then we have our biker gangs, and they control the drug market. And so I'm sure that they've seen a dip in their sales in marijuana, and fentanyl is everywhere, it seems. So
wow.
Where's fentanyl coming from? Gangs.
Have you seen the Netflix show Bad Blood? It's based in
I have
Canada.
I tried watching a bit of it, but I haven't. I just didn't get into it.
I'm watching it now. It's got the guy from what was it, Sons of Anarchy. So I was like, oh, that dude, he's pretty cool. Bang! I've been watching it. I think I'm a few episodes in, maybe 3 or 4 episodes in.
Okay.
Saying I'm only 2 episodes in. I think I'm fucking more than 2 episodes in. I like it because it's like, hey, here's like the other. It's the Australia in the cold. You know what I mean? So we get to learn the similarities in the culture. I guess that you guys, like, when you watch a Canadian show like that, it's like, it just seems like America. There's not much of a cultural difference, really. I don't know. I guess it's the same as us, but it's only the accent and a few other things that No.
I've always been pro America. I'm a Canadian citizen, but you see what's behind me. I find Canadian content is so boring and so dull. Generally, I've always been that guy since I was a little kid, where people are like, "Oh, but it's Canadian." I'm like, I don't care. If it's not American, it's crap.
Isn't there's some, I heard someone talking about, I think it was Chris Jericho. I was listening to his podcast. He's a Canadian, and Chris Jericho, the wrestler.
Yeah, I'm familiar with him.
He was saying something that there's like, he said when he goes up to Canada and his wife's like, "What's this music?" And he's like, "Oh, this is this and that band." And he was saying there's something like a 40% of content has to be Canadian. Like there's some rule on media and radio or something like that.
Canada has the CBC, which is a federally owned radio station, and they mandate that. It's not something that all radio stations have to abide by, but the CBC radio is a Canadian broadcasted radio, coast to coast, and they have a Canadian content mandate.
That's pretty sick, but at least you're like not getting overcome by American content. Do you know what I mean? Like we have that here. You're just like, I find like once Netflix, when I had Foxtel, like I was watching Foxtel, so much American stuff, and then I got over the ads. I was like, fuck it, giving up on Foxtel. And then it's like I'm watching Netflix and it's just all American. Hey, like there's a few Aussie shows on there that are decent, but fuck that, it's pretty rare.
Yeah. Netflix is very, very American heavy for sure. I like it, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Do you guys, Chris Jericho and all these guys must be like heroes, but like if you make it in America and it's like, yeah, Canada, do you know?
I don't know. I'm not. I don't really have an opinion on that, I guess. I just
when
I'm
they
just
make
not,
it, mate, they pretend to be Americans and fly under the radar or something.
Well,
if
like,
they make it over there.
Like you've heard of the band Nickelback?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so like they're from essentially where I grew up, and most people hate them. They're probably they are hands down. They're Canada's most successful musical group, and most of Canada hates them.
Is it because they've sold out? Like they've sold out, and it's like everyone thinks they're American or something. Yeah,
I think it partly to do with that, and partly to do with their sort of plug and play sound. To me, they sound really generic. They're obviously massively, massively popular, and those guys are like multi-millionaires. So obviously there are people that love their music. But generally in Canada, most people don't like it.
That's that's like the most mainstream rock ever. Do you know what I mean? There's an element of them that's not cool. Like, I don't know, look, if you think of Foo Fighters or Green Day,
yeah,
that's rock, but they're mainstream, but they seem to be cool. Like I wouldn't have Nickelback in any of they're not in my playlist. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the sound, I think. So, like, if you take a look at other Canadian artists that are very popular, Neil Young. Neil Young is one of Canada's most popular musicians. He's spanned a career from the 1960s, still making music. I'm actually distantly related to him on my father's mother's side, the Young family in Ontario. But Neil Young is very popular and very well loved. I think it's the Guess Who or the Who, one or the other. One's British, one's Canadian. Very well loved. So a lot of Canadians really love their Canadian content. Nickelback is the exception. Tragically Hip. Have you heard of the Tragically Hip down there?
Nah, I haven't heard of it.
Okay, so
you'll have to send me a heap of mad fucking Canadian bands, bro. Like I'm into rock and metal and punk and shit. So post it on the Telegram chat.
It'll suck. I'll send some over. It'll all suck, I'm sure.
Yeah.
The Tragically Hip the lead singer died of cancer like last year, and it was like a national memorial thing. Even Justin Trudeau had like a crying sort of thing, like all of Canada will miss this guy. They're probably Canada's most loved rock band. I'll send you a couple songs. You'll probably like it. The thing is that
What the fuck is happening with Trudeau? He puts the tears on for anything, doesn't he?
Oh, he's a pussy. He is such a little beta bitch. I can't stand the guy. I mean, I could just rant for hours on how much I dislike him. His pink shirts and his gay pride parades and all this virtue signaling stuff he does. And, you know, he had a picture the other day on his Twitter account where he's like, "Oh, it was such a wonderful surprise to have my daughter show up." Well, you got your camera guys in your office, and your desk is devoid of any paperwork whatsoever. Like, that wasn't a surprise, bro. Like, you had your family come by and you say, "Hey, I want to do a photo opportunity." It's like, the guy's just not a man. He's a little bitch, and he is just screwing Canada so hard. I can't wait for the elections in October.
Fuck yeah, it's gonna be sick, dude. We're gonna have to do so much coverage of that, eh?
It's gonna be pretty darn cool. There's a libertarian candidate, an independent candidate in my town here. I'd like to maybe just go and talk with him and interview him if I could, and see if I can actually put together like a nice little production interview with him. That would be kind of cool to just hear his take on things. I've met Maxime Bernier, who is like People's Party of Canada. He's like the Donald Trump style guy. I love him, but can't vote for him because I got to make sure that Trudeau doesn't win. So I can't split that conservative vote. We've talked about that in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, I October can't come soon enough. We got to get Justin Trudeau out of office and get somebody in there with a set of balls and some toughness.
That's it, bro. October's going to roll around so quick, man.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Like 4 months away, 3 months away.
How funny was it with the pictures of Trudeau, and it was like Fidel Castro was his dad?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. There's definitely, you put them side by side, man, he looks a lot like Fidel Castro at the same age.
Yeah. They are like fucking father and son for sure.
Well, yeah, like Pierre Trudeau and his wife went down to Cuba, and they were like really good friends with Castro. And Pierre Trudeau's wife, Justin Trudeau's mom, was known for being a bit of a slut.
Whoa.
So there's probably a good chance that she went down there and maybe smoked some wacky tobacco and got banged out by Castro and came back and it's like, "Oh, Pierre Trudeau, this is your baby."
That is some fucked up shit, man. They should make him do a fucking genetics test.
Oh, it would be really, really interesting to see that. Like, you know, there's probably he isn't Castro's son, but you take a look at the pictures, like, you know, Justin Trudeau at 25 and Castro at 25, and you're like, that's the same dude.
It's the same fucking person, bro. Maybe they're just lizard people, and whoever made the fucking lizard skin's the same designer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can get behind that, brother. I can get behind that.
Well, bro, what do you reckon? Should we wrap this up and call it a fucking video?
Yeah, I think it's time to get some dinner in me. I haven't really eaten much today, but I've had a great time on the show, as always, and looking forward to sitting down and doing another one.
Yeah, well, I reckon I'll get you on minimum once a month, dude. And if anything fucking bad happens in Canada, I'll get you on even more than that. You know what I mean?
For sure. Well, I'm always available and happy to be here, brother. Thank you.
Should I? Oh, maybe I'll read through the comments just fucking quickly if I've missed anything decent. Oh, where the fuck? Man. I think I fucked this up. Here we go. Here's the comment section. I need a mic stand. I got my shit barely together. Where have we got? Oh yeah, just some general chats. Here we go. ROTC Bear. It's okay if my OK sign is black hands.
I do that.
Yeah, that's the only way you can do the OK sign now. You have to be like a bloody minority in the West, you know. Be like a black Muslim tranny, and then you can still do the OK sign. That's fine.
I do that a lot when I text people. I actually slide on the OK sign, and you can have the different shades. I always slide to a darker shade.
It's the only way you can do it, bro. You know? They
Keep it
fucked
real.
up the system.
What other comments you got there?
I like Canada. Please take back Crowder. Also, more Trailer Park Boys would be awesome. Who the hell's Trailer Park Boys?
It's a comedy trio of guys. They made a Canadian television show where they were like the whitest trash. They were the dustiest of the Bogans of Canada.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah,
Everyone's got to embrace the Bogan. There's Bogans. Every culture has a Bogan class. Do you know what I mean?
We are all Bogans. I'm thinking my next hat is going to say "We are all Bogans."
Fuck yeah. Do Canadians know what Bogan means or what?
No, but I'm going to make sure they do. They do.
Yeah, the Bogan Worldwide Bogan Network, bro. I reckon if I meet like an Afghani or some full foreign fresh ass from overseas, be like, "How long you here?" And if they're like, "Oh, 1 month," I'll be like, "You're a full blown Aussie cunt now, mate. Have a VB long neck, you Bogan." And they'll be like, everyone, you say that to them, and they're like, "Thank you very much." They love it. They want to be a part of our culture, bro.
Yeah, well, it's fun that way. Yeah, I like it.
And the thing is, the left are fucking that up for them, and they're like, the left are like, "No, you can be a little identity politics group. Don't change." Then they create this little ghetto culture where, fuck, I'm gonna be all these foreigners and shit. I'm just like, "You're a Bogan now, mate." Just fucking, I'll train them up in the way of the Bogan, you know.
Hey, what's the most popular beer down there? Like, I know back in the day, Australia was known for Foster's Lager.
Yeah.
Like, what's the most popular beer nowadays?
Fuck. I think it's, I don't know. Tooheys New was kind of a beer that transcended across state borderlines, but we're all cut up into our state beers, like Victoria, Melbourne's Victoria Bitter. I think New South Wales, they do drink Tooheys Extra Dry, Tooheys New. In Queensland, it's 4X Bitter.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just, fuck, I don't even know what the other states are. I think Great Northern might be the Northern Territory's beer. But it's all lager, like it's fucking, it'd be pretty much like Budweiser, you know, just like your standard beer, like no fancy shit, just your standard beer. They're bringing in all this bright beer, like it's real fucking, so it's good. Like, fuck, we got good standard as beer, like nothing amazing, nothing special. It's just your fucking bang, your typical fucking beer. Yeah, I love it too.
Yeah.
I'm getting thirsty. I think I might have a fucking beer tonight just talking about it. You know what I mean?
Attaboy.
Yeah. So what's the time over there now, bro?
It's well, we started at 4 p.m., so it's probably around 5 p.m. now.
Okay, sweet. Yep. What else have we got here? Any other comments? Nothing really that great. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right,
Great
brother.
Northern is North Queensland. Oh, okay. No worries. Great Northern beers from North Queensland.
Okay.
We don't drink Foster's. Tooheys New is the best. Yeah, I think Tooheys New. I reckon Tooheys New. Tooheys Extra Dry. That's the beer that can kind of go across state lines and you can drink it without being like fucking taking the piss out of each other. Like if you drink, I actually don't mind VB long necks, but if I'm drinking it in Queensland, I feel like a traitor. You know?
Interesting. That was cool, man.
Thanks fucking heaps, everyone. Thanks heaps, bro, for coming on. And we're going to do this like more and more. And hopefully, like, dude, if you, I'm going to start putting your, when you come on, I'll put the links onto my, of your YouTube channel onto,
Thanks, brother.
into the description. And then, you know, hopefully we can build up your YouTube channel too, because you do some funny videos like on Telegram. Keep that shit up, bro.
Will do.
And, you know, maybe we can even put you on my website as like a contributor. You know what I mean?
Thanks, brother. Well, I'll keep on putting the content together, and we'll just build it organically, and whatever happens, happens. I appreciate it.
Bloody oath. Cheers, bro. And I just want to encourage everyone and thank them all for their generosity with the super chats. And,
yeah, that's very cool. Very cool.
And, you know, if they do, I have a link below for my Subscribe Star, which is like the cheapest one's $4 a month. So, hey, if you get on Subscribe Star and you do the $4 a month, I'll email you with my Telegram link, and then we'll stay in contact. And like people who do a monthly subscription, I do want to make like extra content for them, or have them so they can be on that Dusty Bogan's chat for sure, so we can fucking be mates. Like, you know, this is like us creating something together and fucking being mates. It's not just news and fucking rallies and shit. It's got to go beyond that, eh? We're building connections, man, and doing something fucking good. And if you buy a shirt, all my links are on there. Check out dustybogan.com and fucking, I really appreciate people's generosity. And then, you know what, man, if this grows, we can have a network across. I've got New Zealanders and Canadian, Aaron, and people in the UK. We can start like a Commonwealth pushing back the PC madness. I think that's kind of the number one thing that is the problem in the West right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
If we get rid of the PC madness and we're just like, hang on a minute, let's fucking joke again. Let's talk about shit. Let's stop calling people Nazis and fucking whatever. Let's have real conversations and be able to joke again. Stop being so authoritarian, the nutcases out there. I think if we just target that over time, we're going to fucking creating a winning culture. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We have to be that change that we want to see, and we gotta stick to it, keep working at it, and encourage everybody else around us to stand up, speak freely. Don't apologize for who you are, and don't apologize for your ideas. Just make sure your ideas are good ones.
Yeah, that's right. And fuck, man, I'm telling you, I'll have to share the link to you for the slateboard.com. Yeah. And we're going to slowly start growing the Slateboard, so then we have like our own social media that we're going to bring on. We're going to bring on a lot of people. I'm in talks with some big groups of people, and we're going to start growing the Slateboard social media site. You know what I mean?
Very cool.
Because then we're, like you said, we have to do something. If we want to push back the PC culture, we have to do something, be practical. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, brother. Thanks heaps. Cheers, everyone. And I'll catch us on Cheap Tuesday. That's when I'm doing my next live, which will be Tuesday afternoon, 6 o'clock. And then Thursday. That's going to be my 3 shows. I'm going to do Boganwave radio on Saturday mornings. This is Brisbane time. Tuesday, 6 o'clock is Cheap Tuesday. And then Thursday is Thirsty Thursday. And it's all just going to be a bit of news, a bit of a laugh, and whatever the fuck is going on in this mad clown world PC culture. We're just going to talk about it and fucking laugh about it. You know what I mean?
Attaboy. Keep it up.
Yeah. Cheers, bro. Catch us later.